Internet Explorer cannot open. Very interesting. But anyway. So what happens when you go to the phadmin, right? When you... That's it. Great.
We're in.
Okay, so we are in it. So what you do, you just come to the phadmin. You see the URL here? That's the address to the database. So database, whenever you go to the phadmin, you always see the password, the URL there. And that's all you need to know, username and password. So you're set, you made a database that you want to install Joomla on it.
So you're saying with the open source web hosting, they basically use MySQL?
MySQL, yes, because it's open source. So if you want to buy access, you have to
because this is have the same layout as MySQL.
Yeah, I mean, this is phadmin, so there are different ways of logging to the MySQL. You can use Toad for MySQL. The same story, you know, if you want to use Toad, then you have to assign the URL. If you use the same, if I want to connect from Toad MySQL to this database, all I need to do, I go to the Toad, make a new connection on the address, I put this address, then my username and password, I'm plugged in, I'm connected, so I can see all the databases from this database. This is just an interface. If you don't want to do anything with the code, if you don't know about the code, then that's the easiest way to work with the MySQL. So is it clear enough? You okay with that? Yeah. So you just make a database first, and you're set to go. Now, what you want to do, you want to make a Joomla website. We did all these things to make a Joomla website. You go back to your hostname. You don't need to know anything about it. So how you want to install a Joomla application? You just go to the application list. Most of the hosting companies nowadays, they provide everything for you. You don't need to do anything. You don't even need to go to Joomla website to download the package first, upload it, and do the process. You don't need to know anything. All you need to do is just go to the package system. You see the loads of the application. Surprisingly, so many of you probably is using this at the moment, and maybe you don't know it's open source. A university is using it, just doesn't pay anything for it. So that's open source. You can make a university Moodle in just a matter of seconds. All you need to do, just click. For example, you just say, I want to install this application. You select it, you install it, the same process as Joomla. So, but because we want to talk about Joomla, and we just focus on Joomla today. So you find so many things. You can just make a website that you can sell your product in just a matter of seconds. All you need to do, you just go to the application categories and see the category that you want to use for that website. You come here, you see the Joomlas, and this is the one I already installed. But if you want to install Joomla, it tells me that it's already has a new option for it, which is 1.5 or something. But if you want to install it, you just select it, you click on install, you select the website that I want to use this, which domain I want to use for that website. And you see the databases here already. This is the version 4 or whatever. It's been available for it before. But we already made a database, so you don't need to be worried about that part. And you select the domain. Now here, you just write the information that for the database. What was the database, for example? It was SD Society. What was the at the moment it's using the one that is already assigned to it, so we don't want to mess with it because it takes 24 hours to be set up. So, but it will be exactly the same thing. When you click on install, it asks for the description of that and the URL, which this one is already assigned to it, so we don't want to do it again. The URL, which the URL will be the one that where is it? The URL will be this one. You take that URL. What I'm doing here. You put that URL on the list that is asking for the URL to it, and username and the password to that database. And then next, what you do after that, it doesn't let me at the moment here because So it just asks which directory you want to use. Like for example, at the moment is zardoli.com. I can say, do I want to use it here or /production / shopping cart? You know, depends how many applications you want to install. So for example, you can have one domain, but you can have WordPress, you can have Joomla on the same domain. All you need to do is just put / the other application. Technically, what happens in hosting, in the hosting package, in the area that you have the space, it makes different folders. One of them called Joomla, one of them called WordPress, one of them called shopping cart, and all you need to do is just / the name of that folder in the hosting. So that's exactly the same thing it does here. So when it comes here, it asks choose installation directory. You just say that directory, or I want to be on the main, so if there is anything after that, you just delete it, say zardoli.com / that's it, nothing after that. And for the configuration, it just asks you, do you want to have installed some samples? Sample data, it makes some samples like that shows you like some links, examples. When you run your website, you can see some examples to just make it easier for you. I usually select no. Is it clear enough so far?
Yeah.
What happens after you click, everything is finished. You just wait half an hour, 2 hours, the system will send you an email and says your website is ready. What happens? Your website is already ready. I made it before, just to show you the idea of that. This is my blog for the WordPress. You see that it says .com, and this is my WordPress. We don't want to talk about WordPress today, just talking about Joomla. What I did, with the same hosting, I installed Joomla. So now, I have Joomla website in the same URL, as the same thing. The first domain, the files are in the folder, whereas the second one, it's just all the files in the same directory. And there is one folder called Joomla. So when I type Joomla, the system finds, okay, in the hosting, oh, there's a folder called Joomla, click. So it starts to read data from that. So in this stage, this is a template when for the first time you make a Joomla website. And that's it. This is just a Joomla website you already have. It's public, everyone can see it. It doesn't look nice, it doesn't have anything on it. You can change the template. And I'll tell you how to do it. Is it too much or is...
No, keep going,
Yeah.
keep going.
What you need to do in Joomla, you don't even need to know how does it work, but you just need to type administrator. The username and password, when you're setting up, I forgot to mention, here for the configuration, it asks you what admin name and password you need. For the older version, like 10.5, sorry, 1.5, is it doesn't ask you for the username. Username is always admin if you're using it in the older version, and the password is asked you to select. For the newer version, like 1.7, 1.6, it asks you for the username as well, so you can use your admin username and password, where verify your password as well, 2 times for the password, and that's it. So the same username and password, that's what I will use here. As you see, in the front end, you just see it was like a panel, username and password, when you want to see from the front end. Joomla is, because it's a content management system, it has back end as well. So to the back end, so what I have to type is, oh sorry, this one is a 10.7, that's why it has already a username. This is a back end. So many things happening there, you don't really need to be concerned about it at this stage. But technically, what happened in the Joomla website, I just show you a Joomla website which is already probably, I think it's mtv.com. mtv.com is a Joomla